Okay, welcome to this video. As you may know from some of the other videos I make, I use DeWalt compatible batteries, but I have purchased a bunch of Bauer tools. So I'm converting these tools to take the DeWalt battery. There are these available, they're converters, and they work. You can see my video on that, I'll link it in the description. But I don't like it because it makes the battery taller. See? It's taller than I like. So I want to convert this tool to take an unmodified DeWalt battery. Let's get into it. This one is a 1/4 inch impact. Hey, if you like what you see here or you found it interesting or useful, why don't you give that subscribe button a click. Maybe give us a like, maybe hit the little bell thingy, lets you know when we put up new videos. What? Huh? Oh, my lawyer would like a word with you.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! No, Will Robinson! Danger!
Okay, if you've seen some of my other videos on converting these things, and I don't know why this one would be any different, we got to do 3 things. Okay, we got to cut away right here. And you don't got to cut away as much as you'd think. You can angle it like I do because I like to mess them up as little as I can. That's number 1. Number 2 is this guy, this tab right here. We got to cut him off. And number 3 is we have to put a little angle right on the front here because the battery butts up against that. I have found that a Dremel tool or a tool shop tool, you can see my review on this too, with a smaller diameter sanding disc works well. It gives you great control so you don't take off too much, and it goes pretty quick. Here we go. Okay, that's step number 1. Now I don't have exact dimensions for that, so I kind of creep up on it a little bit. I don't want to take too much off the first time. I like to creep up on it a little bit. So we got these guys off. Now we're going to take this tab back here off. That one's really easy. That's all there is to that one. Now we're going to test fit this guy, and I'll look. Okay, so I have taken off enough. How do I know that I have? Because I'm looking right in here and I can see that the edge of this right here, this guy right here, I'll draw it on there with a pen. This edge right here is hitting this lip right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the grinder, we're going to take that down. At the grinder, kind of a worn 80 grit belt, but I do have it cleaned with my belt cleaner, and we'll just take this down at about a 45-degree angle. That ought to do it. Again, I don't have exact dimensions, but I kind of know where it is. If you do it right and you creep up on it really slow, you won't break through the thickness of the plastic here and have kind of an ugly opening there where it goes into the hollow part on the inside. Okay, so you can see we didn't quite break through here. Okay, coming close, but didn't quite break through here. Now let's check and see if we've taken off enough. So we put this in, I give her a good smack, and then I see that that came up. The lock came up, so it's not coming out. Also, when you pull the trigger, the light goes on. It doesn't work yet, because we got to get to the resistor on the inside. But I know that the battery physically fits now. Battery, and now we have to put the 10K resistor inside so that it works. As you can see, this one does not have the 10K inside yet. Nothing happens. So let's get on to that. All right, so here's that driver. This time I'm going to use my newly modified drill, low speed on reverse, to remove the T10 Torx that they have that puts this thing together. So here we go. Memory serves, these two are T15s. Let's see if I'm gonna, should only have to take off 2 of them. Take them off. All right, so the T10s are out, T15s are out. We'll bust this guy open. Sure we will. There we go. We'll carefully take him apart. Okay, and we'll look at this stuff down here. Okay, so it is the same as the other, well, yep, it is the same as the other one. Okay, it is as the driver. It's got a yellow and black wire that we need to run a 10K resistor. We have to cut this yellow wire, and I'm gonna just break into the black wire, and I'll run a resistor through there. I'll show you. I'll cut this guy. Okay, you have him cut, and I'll strip the end from him just a little bit, straighten him out. If I could get him in there. Okay. And then on this one, on the black one, what I'll do is I'll take a brand new razor blade, it's very sharp, and I'll just strip away some of the insulation here. I don't want to do it down here because it's got to make this corner here, and I want to put that resistor in up here. So I will very carefully, without cutting myself, strip away some of this insulation. Just like I did on the driver, or the drill / driver. There we go. I have exposed that, and I'm going to cut just a little more away so I get a nice exposure on there. There we go. Now I have that. I'm going to take some of my flux. Flux is just stuff that makes the solder stick better. I'm going to flux both of these, this guy right here, and I'm going to flux this guy right here. Get a little more on there. Okay, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is take one of my 10K resistors, they have nice long leads on them. I don't need them that long. So what I'm going to do is cut them down. And then I am going to flux these two leads also. Can never have enough flux. Resistors are, polarity doesn't matter. I can put it in this way, I can put it in this way. Doesn't matter, it's the same thing. Okay, I'll get some solder over here. Get my soldering iron over here. And I will do what they call tin the ends. I'm just going to put a little solder on the ends of where these two connections where I have that flux. And you can see it sucks in that solder. That'll make it much easier to solder the resistor in when we get it over there. Okay. Melt that flux so I can see what I'm doing. Now what you have to do when you're soldering is you have to get the wire hot enough to melt the solder, not just the end of the iron. Otherwise you'll get what's called a cold connection. You don't want that. Alright, so first off, let us solder this guy together. Let's get some solder on the tip of my iron here. And we'll heat that up, put it right next to it. Had it, but then I jiggled it. Okay, you want these connections to be very good. There's going to be vibration, especially on an impact and everything else. So you're going to want to make sure you do a good job. Okay, and now we will position everything like we want it. And I'm going to pre-solder, get some solder on this lead right here. And I'm leaving it on there so it heats it up enough so that wire, there we go, solder melts on that wire and I don't get a cold joint. Okay, nobody likes a cold joint. Alright, now I'll try to get this right in there so you can see, and I will solder these two guys together. That is a nice solid connection. Now I know some of you are saying, hey, you should have put some heat shrink tubing on there and to insulate it. And I could have done that. I did not want to cut the black wire though. In order to get the heat shrink over that, I would have had to cut the black wire. Didn't want to do that. Remember, I'm being as minimally invasive as I can. So what I'm going to do is insulate that with good old electrical tape. And I like the good stuff. Spend the extra money and get the good electrical tape. The Harbor Freight stuff is not what you want here. Okay, I'm going to put it like this, and then I'm going to fold the two adhesive sides together. That gives you a very good, solid connection. When you get the two adhesive sides together, that ain't coming apart anytime soon. Okay, and I'm going to have one more piece on the other one. This one is not adhesive to adhesive, so he might unwrap a little bit over time. I realize it doesn't look like that professional a job, and perhaps it's not, but it will do the job, and those connections are very good in there. So let's slip this guy back in here. There's a little shelf he goes on. We'll move this around. We get a little. This is why I did it up here, because it gets tight right there. So we'll do this guy, then we'll gently place this guy back on here. We'll line up both the heat sink and the connector down here. There we go. Nice tight fit. We'll line up the direction indicator here. go, that guy. And we'll squeeze them together. There we go. I think we're ready for reassembly. So we'll put these two T15s in first. And these, I feel comfortable enough with this guy that I will drive them. When I drive them in, I'm going to set my clutch way down so that I can't over tighten them. Way down, and I'm still going to be careful, just like you should be. See, that clutch is way down. Good job. And what I'll do is I'll dump these guys in here. Got to switch out my bit for the T10. They can't make it easy to have them all the same size. You know how it is. Put it on slow speed, keep the clutch way down. Drive them in. Turn the clutch even farther down. I'm getting nervous. I'm on 2 in case you want to emulate me. There we go. Now comes the moment of truth. Battery. We know that it locks in. Oh, there we go. Lights should go out in about 10 seconds, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2. Okay, it's 2 seconds off. Looks like it works. The 10K resistor trick also works in the driver. There's no reason why it shouldn't. I fully expected it to. But now we know that that works. The light works. These little charge lights work. Or the power lights work down here. Let me show you that. Okay, those work. So everything works in the driver. Okay, a little after action on converting the driver. Worked good, as expected. There were no surprises on this one. It was the same as the drill driver. I will give you a update maybe in 6 months and tell you how everything's still working with both the battery and the conversion, but I'm very happy with it. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps you.